So welcome back to Graded, home Mindfulness Meditation, Self-Transformation. And I wanted to do a quick video to follow the post that I've just done regarding ego death, or what a lot of people call ego death in the spiritual community. Just give a little bit of an understanding of what an ego death is. Now, it's not really a death, it's more of a detachment. And that detachment comes from awakening to consciousness. It's basically your consciousness, pure consciousness or source consciousness, detaching from your identity, from your beliefs. Stop looking at me because I'm putting me off.
I need you to help
My
me.
pretty co-partner over there.
Can you put your mum's address?
I'm doing a video.
Can you?
I'm in the middle of a video. It's the lesser enlightened one over there. This is more enlightened than me. But anyway, going back on... Why are you still looking at me? Okay, going back onto topic, ego death. So there's no such thing as an actual ego death. It's just a detachment process. So as you begin awakening and you become more conscious, or you start to become more aware of consciousness itself, then this period is a period of time. Now, I had at 29 years old, I had an out-of-body experience, Kundalini awakening, which I realized pure consciousness in that one moment. But that didn't mean I come out of the experience and had a pure ego death in that moment. A lot of people think we can have these mystical ego deaths in one moment. Well, I can't discredit the fact that that might happen, because there might be a lot of truth in that. But from my own experience and from a lot of how I intuitively feel, we can realize source consciousness in one moment of purity. But then that consciousness, the consciousness that you are, has to begin this detachment process. So when your consciousness grounds in the body in the root chakra, it cuts off its connection to itself. So your consciousness loses its awareness of itself. And it becomes aware of the mind and body because it's rooted in the root chakra. And so the first awareness we have is the awareness of our mind and body. And this is when we begin to formulate all of these ideas and beliefs about who we believe ourselves to be. But when we go through an awakening process, our consciousness, it's realizing more of its essence, it's realizing more of the source of itself. And this happens over time. There's this detaching process, because your consciousness, until it's awakened, is bound, it's sort of entangled within all of these thoughts and all of these beliefs. So it's really a process of detaching. This is the psychological death you're having, because before your consciousness was identified with these beliefs, it was empowering these beliefs. But as you're detaching from the beliefs, you're having a psychological death, which means your consciousness is no longer identifying with the thoughts and the beliefs you had about yourself and the person you believed yourself to be. And this is a process. This takes time, because not only are we talking about beliefs and ideas of who we think ourselves to be, we're talking about the emotional charges. We are all emotionally charged human beings, and so our consciousness has to dissolve the emotion as well as the identification. And this is the process of awakening. This is the ascension process. But, for me, it's now 4 years, and I'm still aware of very subtle identifications, but I'm so aware of them subtle identifications that I can just see the resonance or the residue of the emotion that was there. So, not only are we talking about the disidentification from thought, but we're talking about the emotional discharge that happens over time. The emotion begins to discharge. And your consciousness is just freeing itself. It's realizing more and more of the source, realizing more and more of its essence, which is basically a state of nothingness, a state of stillness. So as the process goes on, you become more and more still. And then you just kind of become intuitively led. So you speak intuitively. You don't pre-think or pre-emphasize anything. It's very natural. It's very much flow. And this is kind of when you're getting more into pure alignment and pure flow state. You don't need to know anything, because everything you need to know happens or comes through when you need to know it. So a little bit on ego death. Don't get too pulled into thinking that you're going to have some kind of experience where you're just going to completely die inside and rebirthed as Christ consciousness. It takes time. Go with the flow. Allow the process to unfold. Till next one. Much love.